Hispanic people have been listening to religious leaders and pastors, and they never really understood the Bible. But until the I.S.U.P.K in 1969, until today, when you see these brothers right before me, these brothers I'm with right now, we're opening up the book and letting Black and Hispanic people understand what the Bible is really saying. Understand who you really are. You get what I'm saying? So my topic today is integration. A couple brothers done spoke on it. There's been a couple of brothers that done spoke on integration. They done spoke on the fact that what Martin Luther King did not help Black and Hispanic people, right? Because not just Black people integrated when Martin Luther King tried to get us to integrate with white people. It was Hispanics and Native Indians that also integrated, but Black people were at the forefront. You get what I'm saying? Black people were at the forefront of the civil rights movement to integrate with white society. But Hispanics and Native Americans also integrated. Hispanics and Native Indians also said, you know what? This is a good idea. Maybe we'll be better off if we go to white schools. Right. Maybe we'll be better off if we can work with them and we can go to their restaurant. Right. And that's what integration was. Integration was about us coming together, looking at ourselves and saying, you know what? The grass might be greener on the other side. The grass is probably greener on the other side where we see white people with all the restaurants and we see them with all the businesses. Maybe we should leave our businesses and try to go into their businesses. That was integration. Well, as we can see, 60, 70 years later, integration has not worked. Right. Integration has not worked for Blacks, Hispanics, or Native Indians. Integration was the worst thing that we could have done. Right. We should have stayed separate. We should have stayed to our own people. That's what we should have stayed. Because right now, you see the results of integration. Right. Now, I just stood out here while my brothers, priests and prophets of the Lord, have been bringing the word of God. And I've looked at my people. I've looked at Blacks and Hispanics. I looked at Blacks and Hispanics selling drugs. I've looked at Blacks and Hispanics prostituting. It was down there a shootout right across the street between some brothers, right? I've looked at Blacks and Hispanics walk past here with no damn hope, with hopeless, you understand? And that is the result of integration. Why do I say that? Because when Black and Hispanic people integrated with the white society, what happened was we left all our businesses and started to patronize their businesses. We started to go to their stores, right? And so all of our businesses died. Everything in our community died because we were now putting our trust, we were now putting our money into white society, right? Because we wanted to be a part of something that we thought was better than what we had. That's the key thing. We thought it was better than what we had. Another thing, another key to that is that we thought that by integrating, that white people would not hate us. Right. We thought that white people wouldn't hate Black and Hispanic people because we were integrated, right? We thought, say, listen, we're on your team. We want to be a part of your team. So how could you hate somebody that wants to be a part of your team? Right. Well, 60, 70 years later, you see, we are still not on their team. Right. Police brutality is rampant. Poverty is rampant. We are destroyed as a people, and we are still criminalized and stereotyped as the criminals of the earth. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just showing you as Black and Hispanics that doing all of those things, following Martin Luther King, and Commodore brought it out earlier, that Martin Luther King, he said later on after the integration is that I believe I have integrated my people into a burning house. A burning house. Meaning you don't take, if you love your people, if you care for your people, you don't take your people and say, follow me. Right. We're gonna go into that burning house. Right. You don't destroy your people. Right. And that's not the part that the white man shows you every February on Black History Month. Right. He don't tell you that part about what Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther King said that he feels that he have integrated his people into a burning house. Right. And what he meant is that integration probably wasn't the best idea. Right. Integration probably was a dead end. And 60 years later, we see that integration has not helped Blacks, Hispanics, or Native Indians at all. You're the number one bad in everything on the earth. Heart disease, lung disease, Poor health care, bad choices, poor schools. And why? Because you went to a people who considered you second class in the first place. You've never been equal. You know what integration did? You probably thought that you integrated, but really what you did is you assimilated. You assimilated to the ways and the cultures of the so-called white man. That's what Black and Hispanic people have done. And so you have tried to be like them, you tried to think like them, and you tried to look like them, and it has been to your destruction. Right? Brother, give me that so we can go more into it. 26 and 3. 23 and 6.
Oh, God. The book of Deuteronomy 23, verse 6. Thou shalt not seek their peace.
Now the Lord said we should not seek their peace. And that's what integration was. Integration was a way to get peace from the so-called white man. To get away from their hate. To be a part of their family. And the Lord said, don't seek their peace. Now I want to make one thing clear. It's okay if you have a business and you have so-called white people that want to patronize your business. It's okay to have a contract with a so-called white man and do business. But what we did was seek their peace. And what we thought we were doing was integrating. But like I said earlier, we were assimilating into America. We have learned to try to be like them, right? You know what real integration is? Real integration is what you see with the so-called Chinaman. You see Chinatowns in every major city. That's real integration, where he can prosper and he can actually get a foot in America and be equal to the so-called white man. Well, that is not what happened with Blacks and Hispanics. That is not the case. You are still not equal with the so-called white man. And you don't have any Negro towns. Right? You don't have any places where you can just call your own, where they govern you, where you make the rules, you govern, and you get all of the resources and the money. That is not the case for Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? Keep reading, Doc. Read it from the top.
Come on. Deuteronomy 23 and 6. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity.
The Lord said, don't seek their peace, nor their prosperity. And our religious leaders, our Hispanic and Black and Hispanic leaders have sought to seek the peace and the prosperity of the so-called white man. Listen, when we didn't even need it. We didn't need their prosperity. We didn't need their peace. You know why? Because we had that before the so-called white man came on the shores of America. We had that. We had our own prosperity and our own peace. You understand? We didn't have to try to be like them. There's been a good example that a lot of brothers use is Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street is a very, very small example of what Black and Hispanic people can do when they are segregated like the Lord suggested. It's a small vision of what life can actually be like when we don't seek the peace of our oppressor. That was what Black Wall Street is. And you see it on the bigger level with Chinatown. They don't seek the peace of the so-called white man. Hell, the Arabs don't seek the peace and the prosperity of the so-called white man. They stick to themselves. I don't know what you have seen, but I don't see the so-called Asians and the so-called Arab running to the voting polls. I don't see them trying to involve themselves in the affairs in the government of America. But what I do see is Black and Hispanics putting hope in all of the affairs of America and trying to involve themselves in everything in level of the government of America to no avail, right? To our destruction. Nothing has ever happened, nothing in voting. Voting never did a goddamn thing for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we put all our hope in all of our dreams and our desires in the voting polls. And after what, I don't know how long it's been, 100 years, has nothing been done for Black people, Hispanic people, or Native Indian people specifically. Read it from the top again.
Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity, all thy days forever.
The Lord said, don't seek their peace or their prosperity forever. We should not try to be like, we should not We should not be trying to be like them.
Right.
We should not be hoping that, well, if we have integrated and we get closer to white society and white businesses, that will make our lives better. We should have never taken on that thought process. You understand? You could drop that. Give me Jeremiah 2:33. Jeremiah 2:33. Integration was a lie. Integration is something that did not work for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And as I said, what we thought we were doing was integrating. What black and Hispanic people really did was assimilate. We assimilated, so we tried to absorb the white man's ways, America's society, and their thought processes and their philosophies. And today, you see the results of that. You see black and Hispanics going into LGBTQ because we think like them. You see blacks and Hispanics hating one another. Hell, let me tell you something. Let me break it down to you like this. You look at other black and Hispanics like we are a bad people. And when I say that, black and Hispanic people look at other black and Hispanic people like, I want to get away from them. I'm separate from them. I'm not like them. I'm not like, you know, I'm a good nigga. Those niggas over there, I'm not like them. I'm a good homie. I'm a good homie. I'm not like the homies over there. You know what I'm saying? We look at each other as criminals, right? But guess who looked at you as a criminal first? Guess who looked at you as a criminal first?
Right.
The so-called white man looked at you as a criminal at first. And listen, as I said, as we assimilated, we took on their thoughts and their ideas. We didn't integrate. We assimilated in America.
Right.
See, integration, it would have put us in an equal standing. We're still at the bottom of the barrel in America. When we assimilated, we took on the way they look at us. So we started to hate one another, right? We started taking on the things that they do, the things that they glorify. And guess what? The so-called white man was the first gangbanger.
Right.
The so-called white man did the first drive-by.
Right.
The so-called white woman was the first whore.
That's right.
Marilyn Monroe. And listen, black and Hispanic women put Marilyn Monroe on their living room wall as an icon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's who you follow. The so-called white man was the first drug dealer, Ronald Reagan. They put crack cocaine in South Central Los Angeles.
Right.
You understand? And so we just emulated, or better yet, we assimilated to white society.